wisdom beyond our own, and a clear understanding so that we may promote thy glory and the welfare of all in the city. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Thank you. Welcome to our extraordinary council meeting on the 14th of May. We begin with apologies. We have no apologies, but we have, welcome, Councillor Kerr. We have two councillors who are zooming in, and Councillor Bentley and Councillor Bill Hammond. We're expecting him.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 2, is there any declarations of interest? Please let myself or governance know. And we now move to, we welcome Local Government New Zealand. Welcome, Susan. Cool. And we have one of the national councillors and Mayor Neil Holden from New Plymouth, who's going to speak. So we have remind councillors why this paper is here. That council instructed the CE to produce this paper and our future of membership of Local Government New Zealand. So with that, I'll call on Mayor Neil. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hi everyone, I'm Neil. I'll be one of your mayors today, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Look, I'm a member of Local Government New Zealand, part of the National Council, and proud to be part of basically a 71 member coalition of the willing, working together to support what we do as councils and push back on poor policy from Wellington. I read the report. There are a couple of issues in the report that are incorrect, so I just thought I'd point them out. There's an indication in the report that that the current coalition government isn't working with Local Government New Zealand, and I just want to clarify that if you reflect on the events that we've had participation by the Minister of Local Government, whether it be Simeon Brown or more recently Simon Watts. We've also had Chris Bishop. The National Conference will feature the Prime Minister. There are regular briefings between, Sam and Campbell as our President and Vice President meeting with the Prime Minister and his team regularly, as well as with the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet, and a range of other ministers and MPs. And that will continue. And if you reflect on the narrative of Local Government Minister Simon Watts at the recent meeting, talking about the need for us to work together. The government does not want to work with 71 individual councils on a one-on-one basis in terms of the Prime Minister or the Minister's time. And they've indicated and they understand that for us to serve New Zealand, we have to work together. I note that the report also says that the resources available to LGNZ members can be provided elsewhere. And I think, look, I come from a commercial background. It just makes financial sense for New Plymouth District Council and actually every council to be a member of LGNZ. If you think about, okay, you've got the training platform, Arcona, Mayor's School and things, but, we're turning out submissions to the government policy machine, on a fortnightly or monthly basis. And for us to, not have access to the LGNZ policy development pipeline, we'd straight away have to hire at least one more FTE. And if you want a decent policy analyst, you're talking about a salary of at least $100,000 and ask your CE what the corporate overhead allocation is per staff member, because I suspect add another 50 grand for the desk and the IT. So for policy development alone, LGNZ pays for itself, but then you also add the information sharing, the networking and the advocacy, for as I say, the Mayor's School for me was, that I was out of the frying pan in the private sector into the fire, and the Mayor's School created for me. I identified a couple of mentors that aligned with my values, and I wouldn't have made it past one term if it weren't for the networks and some of the basic survival tips I was given there. Think about your young elected members, providing a pathway for them in a support groups and also to Marawata. Simple examples of our success, the work we did achieved pushing back on the emergency works proposal from NZTA that would have cost collectively councils tens of millions of dollars a year. We've managed to get them to hit pause on that. And look, so, you know, I'm happy to take questions, but really I was here to say to you, you're a council, you're a sovereign, and you have every right to make every decision that you want, but I want you to be making decisions based on all of the information. And the report that I see before you is, I'd say, it's pretty light, and to be, you know, fair, it's inaccurate. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Neil? No questions? Thanks, Neil. Thank you. Now, let's table, if you don't want to pass those around. Now, you can see the recommendation for any questions, any comments?
Did you read this very well?
No, it's been emailed to you. Councillor Deputy Mayor Stiles.
Thank you. Mayor Holman, for coming along, and obviously the CEO, Sue Freeman. I'd like to acknowledge you both for being here and having that conversation. As a small council, we are absolutely responsible for making sure that as elected members we are supported, and I take the point of what you've said about being supported and having access to some training schools and opportunity to have mentorship through the program. But also as a small council, we are cognizant of making sure that we are answerable to our community when it comes to our budget and how we spend that money and where we spend that money. And we've been under the firing line just lately about our expenses, where we spend it and how we spend it. A lot of people accused us of having the highest rates in New Zealand because they didn't understand how rate strikes were taken. So I appreciate the corridor that has happened around here, and I understand that we as elected members are going to have to make some hard-hitting calls here with regard to this paper here. But I think it's about looking at, for us, where we are at the moment and how we decide to, or where we put the value in with the proposition that's been put on the table with regard to what you said, Mayor Neil, and the papers absolutely that we've got to read inside us. So thank you.
Other comments? Councillor Neil.
Is this question time of the participation, or are we talking
here.
the debate?
Yep.
Where the debate?
Yep. Any other comments? Councillor Bentley.
Your worship, sorry, I misunderstood before when Neil finished. I thought Susan was going to speak. I did have a question for Neil. Is that too late?
Yeah, you can ask. Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Neil, in the paper it alludes to future annual subscriptions increasing in price because of the declining membership. Is there any indication of LGNZ working to get some cost savings so subscriptions don't just keep going up?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as an organisation, we're looking really hard at our budget and working. We know the pressures you're under, and look, we totally understand where you're at. So that we are looking to try to manage our costs and ensure that we, like you, that we minimise the increases. But the work that we're doing is, as I say, the goal is for us to be as efficient as possible and to minimise those increases in the charges. But as I said, when you reflect on, what you're paying, which is probably less than it costs you to have a single FTE within the organisation, I would say, if you are actively wanting to participate in, the policy development process in Wellington, just in that cost alone, you'd be spending more than your subscription. And I was speaking to Toby Adams, who is from Hauraki District, another. It's not a big council, and he made the point that they had a look at that, and because of the quality of work that is coming out of LGNZ in terms of and it's not just the submissions, the fact that they're doing the environmental scan because there's so much going on, and then highlighting that information and providing it to us. Because I mean, in my old job, we used to hire consultants to literally read all of your district plans to see how they might impact on us as an infrastructure provider. So you've got a service there that is probably, I would suspect you could probably quantify that value at about $150,000 per council, regardless of whether you were large or small. And as I say, those networking events, for myself, meeting a couple of key what people that became mentors, and then I've worked, and when I go to mayor school now, building networks, but also working to support new mayors coming in, because Wayne will tell you, particularly early on in the career, it can be quite challenging, and having people that know what you've been through, or people that are able to support you, or people that even you can just have a quiet moan to and not read about it in the paper. Those are things that actually build the resilience and and the continuity of your teams, and the same can be said for your councillors. And I think as a good employer, we're all trying to encourage younger members through, and as I said, things like the young elected members networks and Te Maruata also, they allow you to deliver on your obligation to attract capable people and grow them in your organisation to help make better decisions and better serve community.
Councillor Griffiths.
Through you, just to the CE, could you comment on the other mayors' educational costs that would do on us if we were to pull out?
Through you, Your Worship, from a staffing point of view, the costs, there would be virtually no cost increase to us. We rely quite heavily on Taituara and other organisations that operate in the local government space. In terms of, and it's mentioned in the paper, the biggest benefit is really the collegiality opportunities that it offers for elected members, and I have not even attempted to value that in dollar terms.
Okay. Any further comments? Councillor Holderness.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've been a little bit on the fence about this one all the way through, but I do think one of the things to consider when we're weighing it up is that this year being an election year, and that there will be new members, because we know of at least one person who is not freestanding. I do think that there's an element to think about in terms of our role in stewardship around helping set up a new council to be really successful. And so that's probably the key thing that I'd be looking at is this year specifically, are we really helping the next people who are coming through in terms of them building? We talked, His Worship talked a lot at the beginning of our training around the importance of building a team and being able to do that. And I think that this is a way to help be able to manage that for a new council coming in.
Any further comments? Councillor Neal.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Holderness. I think this is not actually the time to be considering pulling out when we do have, as you say, at least one new person, if not more, coming on board next time.
All of us?
Oh, yeah, could be a lot. So I do think the training opportunities, and as I'm on the Zone 4 committee, we do regularly hear the progress on work that's being done from local government New Zealand. So I think that perhaps I've been remiss in not bringing back some of that information and briefing people on what is actually being done.
Councillor Bentley.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, just want to say I support Councillor Holderness' remarks. I think there is some value there, especially around the induction. I definitely found it helpful when I first came on board in council and learned a lot that you get from just that outsider's perspective, you know, you get a different kind of point of view of being an elected member and what, yeah, different approaches. So I support.
So no other comments, so around the table, I get, we've got option 1, option 2. But, from the feeling, is there option, we'll start with option 2, is that correct? We have a mover?
A, B, C. A, B, C. Yeah, A, B, or C, so which one?
Option six.
We take it by line.
Option 2, yeah,
Which is.
receive, and then option 2 is that instruct the chief executive to continue membership of local government.
Yep,
Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah, on page 9, yeah.
Moved by councillor Kerry, seconded by councillor Holderness. Put that to the vote. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
The contrary, no.
No.
Show of hands. 4.
So.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's been carried. Okay. And now we move to item 4. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Now the meeting moves into public excluded for the session, for the reasons provided in the agenda, and we allow Tim Smith, barrister, to remain to assist our meeting. Thank you. Happy to move? Seconded by councillor Kerry. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. It's been carried.